right. Well, welcome to another episode of the BiohackerBlondie podcast. This is a special one. We're here with Jarrod, and you are the founder of the Light System, or the president of the Light System. The Light System, I believe, has been around for many years, and now you are the president. And please explain what the Light System is and what intrigued you about this system and what it does.
So the light system is only about a year and a half old. The technology is 30 years.
Okay.
So we've taken the technology, we found the creator and signed a worldwide exclusivity license agreement. So we're now the only licensed resellers and manufacturers of the light system. So it's been very exciting. We took, an existing product, we energized it, made it, I call it, a lot sexier. It's really cool to look at. But the beauty about it is it helps so many people on so many different levels in so many different ways. And it does that through three main, fundamental avenues, I'll call them. One being through polychromatic therapy, which is, therapy from light or the color of light. Everybody knows about red light therapy. It's pretty popular, but now we're starting to see these red light companies introduce different colors of lights into their light therapy. So you're starting to see some purples and some blues and stuff like that. The blue light is very different than, what we've been conditioned to be afraid of in our cell phones and TVs and stuff like that. It's the color of the blue in the light that provides a benefit. So we access all of the colors. Every color has a benefit to the body, and so we can access all of them through our technology. Red is great for red is great for circulation. Blue is good for inflammation. Yellow is good for digestion. Green's good for the nervous system. So on and so forth. Every color has a tremendous benefit to the body and can benefit the body. So we employ all the different colors to provide those benefits to the body. We also use a series of affirmations. So through our technology, affirmations are scrolling through the screens. And we actually hide these affirmations because we don't want you to spend time staring at the screens. We just want you to be, right? We want you living around it, and our body has innate ability to absorb or take in those affirmations. And we know that through, some significant research done by a doctor called Emoto, who did a lot of research on water and the effects that words have on water. And I think we're still kind of scraping the understanding of what water truly is, right? Its ability to have a memory and take shape and take form. But in terms of his research, what he found was that words could impact or change the structure of the water. So he knew that if he spoke positively to the water, when he froze that water, it would freeze in a beautiful way. So if he told the water was beautiful, it would freeze in a beautiful way. If he told the water was ugly or disgusting, it would be more chaotic, no real beauty to it. And so he asked, how is that possible? Right? How can water that doesn't have eyes and doesn't have ears and doesn't speak French or English or Japanese or Mandarin or anything understand the words and have the ability to restructure itself? And the reality is, what we're learning now is that frequency is everything. Frequency is everywhere, right? From my shoe to the earth, to our hair, to our bodies, to our cell phone. I mean, it's everywhere. And so the water isn't understanding the word, but it's picking up on the frequency of the word. So you don't need to read the word in order to receive the frequency of the word. So we hide the words through a different font that's unrecognizable because we find it's a distraction. So the affirmations are still flowing through the screen, and you still receive those affirmations. You just don't have to read them. And those affirmations are really designed to allow the mind to understand that everything is okay, that you're in a good place, and that you will be fine, right? And that's super powerful, right? Because no matter what you're going through, if it's depression, if it's serious illness, if it's just mental clarity, if your mind can understand and truly believe that you're okay, your body will follow, and we know this. So the affirmations restructure the water within our cells. We're 70% water. And through the restructuring of that water, we create a more efficient flow of energy through the body. Wow. Lastly, we have again, back to the light and the colors, the light waves or photons collide within our systems, and through that collision causes a burst of quantum energy. And it's that quantum energy that increases the voltage within our cells. So now what we've done is we haven't just received the benefit of the colors, we haven't just increased the efficiency in which energy flows through our body, but we've actually increased the amount of energy or the voltage within our cells. And why that's important is because we are electrical beings, right? We're made up of energy and electricity, and we need that electricity in order to function. And when our electricity gets down low enough, that's when we get sick, right? And the unfortunate thing is, historically, without any kind of technology, the only way for us to replenish the electrical charge within our body is through rest and digestion, right? Eating and sleeping. And through our technology, we're now increasing that cellular charge through, the biophotonic collisions. But the really interesting part and the sad part is that today, in the world that we live in today, we're constantly being handicapped. So again, rest and digestion. What are we doing when we're resting? When we're resting, we're surrounded by the Wi-Fi in our house, right? When we're eating the toxins in the food that we're being served, in the water that we're drinking. When we're sleeping, we're breathing the air that's full of pollutants. So all of these things are handicaps, right? They drive down our charge. Our body needs electricity to fight that stuff. And so that electricity gets expelled through that fight. And now we're operating at a much lower level than we ever were intended to do. The light system, picks up that charge, brings that charge back up to optimum. And when we're at optimum, our body now has the tools that it needs to be able to fight whatever is ailing it, to heal from whatever is ailing it. Not the technology, our body, because our body has an innate ability to heal itself, right? You cut yourself, it heals, you catch a cold, you get better, but if your charge is too low, if you're, too far gone, that cold turns into pneumonia. That cut becomes septic because your body can't fight.
Yeah, we're surrounded by so much these days, and it's just difficult to be healthy. I feel like in 2026, it just is nonstop. So a lot of people are skeptical, I feel, of things like this, of frequencies and energies and everything and light. And you do see it when you actually look under the microscope of blood or these cells. You see all the things interacting differently. So you explained it so well, but were you skeptical before? And when did you start believing in the light and the frequencies and everything?
It's a big question.
Yeah.
And
How did you get into this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer you because the journey started back when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Right? I just didn't know it. All right. My dad would lay me on the floor before any of my hockey games, football games, swim meets, whatever it was. And he'd have me visualize the outcome of every game. So every play, every score, what happens through that game, an hour before I actually played in the game or went through or played the sport. He knew the power of visualization because he knew if you could visualize it, it will become.
Wow.
Right. And so for a very long time, I've been doing that. And that is what affirmations are. Right. Again, back to what I said originally, if your mind believes, truly believes, right, your reality you will turn it into a reality and it will become. And so it's extremely powerful. So now dissect that a little bit. Why? How could your mind, just from your mind believing it, how could your body follow? Right? And the reality is it's not just your body, but it's everything around you. And the only way that that's possible is that if you are fully accountable for what you're believing, right? And in that accountability is the frequency that you're now generating, right? So now I'm a beautiful, handsome man, right? I'm exuding that beauty and that handsomeness, and I'm a man, and I'm being facetious, right? But if I exude that confidence, other people will believe it.
Yeah.
Right? If I believe that I'm going to win in this dart game, right? I'm going to win. I will, because my body will have now the confidence. And not only that, my opponent is going to be scared shitless of me because of that frequency and vibration that I'm putting out. It works negatively too, right?
Yeah.
If you wake up and you had a terrible sleep or you're in a bad mood, that frequency now that you're putting out there, because your mind believes that you're having a bad day, you're going to create an environment that becomes more conducive to arguments and even, a car accident, anything is possible when you are putting this frequency out into the world.
Yeah.
So my journey started when I was 8 years old.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Canada?
Yeah. I grew up in a small town north of Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your dad was ahead of the game with the affirmations, because now we're all doing it and
Yeah, we're all
loving
doing
it.
it.
Because if you do focus on negative things, that's negative energy you're putting out to the world. So it's always, I'm always trying to look at the positive, because I want to be a positive person. I want to bring that positivity out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something that you can give to this world, is positivity and uplifting people instead of being negative
And draining
and
people.
draining. So it really does impact people. So, and that's why I love health, is because I feel the healthier you are internally, the better person you can be to everyone you're around. So it's really such a great thing. The healthier I become, I feel like the better I become in all my relationships.
Yeah.
So take us back. So now you're a kid, and, especially as an adult, you get a little more maybe skeptical of these things. You're more open to lights and energy and frequency, but explain how you got into the light system.
I was, so we spoke briefly before we started, and I mentioned that previously I was working in the cannabis space in Southern California. When I was, a managing partner of the second largest dispensary chain in California and Nevada.
Oh, wow.
And my background is agricultural sciences, so I started in the cultivation space and then just started focusing on the retail. But long story short, when COVID happened, I was commuting back and forth between California and my family in Toronto. So I was on a plane once a week going back and forth from Toronto to California. And when COVID happened, the border shut down, and in that moment, I had a decision to make, family or work. And so I chose, what any respectable father would choose, and that was family. So I moved back to Toronto, always thinking, next week the border will open. Next week the border will open. Next week the border will open, right? And that went on for 2 years or so forth. But when I moved back to Toronto, I managed the business remotely for about a year. But unfortunately, through that time, my business partner, who is also my cousin, had developed a pretty serious drug addiction and gambling problem. He started selling off assets and putting the proceeds up his nose and in slot machines.
Wow.
So that business disappeared.
Wow.
So I relied on various relationships and did work still in the cannabis space from Canada. And then I hooked up with an individual, the owner of Unified Healing, Jason Shirka, who was looking for somebody to manage his staff, and so I went to work for Jason. We hit it off. I loved doing what I was doing, and I would say within 3 weeks he just asked me to take over the company. And so not take over the company in the sense of ownership, but he owns it. Take it over in terms of operations and whatnot. So I did that. I managed to meet a plethora of incredible people around the world, because all these people were employing a similar or a technology similar to the light system, and so I met a lot of fantastic people. And then it was, I guess, in November or December, we were approached by the developer of the technology of the light system, Robert Religa, who asked us if we would be interested in forming a relationship. And so we did. And so by we, I mean the owner of the light system, who prefers to remain nameless. And they approached me and asked me if I would run the company for them. And I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
have to think twice. It was something that I loved and really respected. So I said absolutely. And for the period of about 8 months, I was managing or operating both the light system and unified healing. And it wasn't until November where I just realized it was too much. So now I just focus solely on the light system.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when did you start using the system, and what benefits did you see that you fell in love with it?
So I have, and we don't have to get into it, but from dating back to 2010 through 2025 or 2024, you know, went through a very difficult time for, through, a loss of a job, which has never happened to me before, the loss of my father, a divorce, the loss of my 12-year-old daughter, and the loss
Sorry.
of the company in California. It was always one thing after another. And I've always managed to, pick myself up and dust myself off and move forward. But clearly not in the capacity that I truly could have. So to answer your question, when I got introduced to the technology, at that point when I got introduced to it, I was getting over, a pretty significant spinal injury and spinal repair surgery. Sorry. So, and it was excruciating. And going back to my cousin, right, being a drug addict and who had an opiate addiction, it was important for me to get off the opiates as soon as possible because I didn't want to go down that road. And so about 3 weeks post surgery is when I got off the painkillers, and that was hard. I mean, it was really hard. It was a lot of pain. But that's when that was 3 weeks. By week 5 or 6 is when I got introduced to the technology and started using it. It was in my office, which is also my bedroom, and so I was exposed to it 18 hours a day. And I immediately started to feel better. So the surgeons told me post-op, you stay out of the gym for 6 months. I was back in the gym at 10 weeks.
Wow.
And at 6 months, I was in the best shape of my life.
Did you start feeling better the first time using it? When did you start noticing benefits?
No, so I didn't. I just all of a sudden, I'm hard on myself, right? And it's who I am. I always try to be better, and I'm not happy, in my current place because I need to be in a
Oh,
better place all the
yeah.
time. So I don't see that. I didn't see that. But who did see it was my physiotherapist and my surgeon, and
Oh,
they kept saying, "Gee, like, you
you're
shouldn't
healing
you
a
shouldn't be
lot
healing this
faster.
fast." Yeah. And my physiotherapist took all the credit, and I let her have the credit. I wasn't even doing the exercises, right? Because, I spent a lifetime in athletics and in the gym, and I felt like I just knew more than her. I don't, but I felt like I did. So, but it was a technology, and it wasn't her, it was the technology. And I remember walking or going to my surgeon's office in flip flops, and he was asking me to walk. He wanted to see me walk, and I was complaining that I still had numbness in my legs. And he said, "Jarrod, the fact that you can walk from here to there in flip flops is pretty amazing."
Oh,
And this was probably in August, and I turned to him and said, "Doc, I ride my motorcycle in flip flops every day." Right? And so he just couldn't believe it. So,
do you, did your doctor say, "What are you doing?" And did you mention the light system to him?
I don't know. I don't know that I did. Now he's like very respected doctor, but he's like pretty hardcore. I don't really talk to
Linus.
him that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this something that maybe, I mean, it was so helpful for you, all the drugs and the addiction that come from the pain medications. It's a serious issue. Is this something that can be implemented in hospitals? I feel like there's so many solutions besides medication now that we know of, and they don't implement these in hospitals. And like, even I interviewed the founder of brain code centers, a neurofeedback, and it's like gets rid of anxiety, bipolar, like depression, neurofeedback, a simple device. And I'm like, why is this not in hospitals?
Yeah.
Why are they just giving patients pain medication, anxiety medication that's just so addicting, and then it also has a lot of side effects, and you have to wonder why hospitals are not implementing some of these things that can change someone's life and actually heal them instead of just be on medication for the rest of their lives.
I mean, I
Do you
would
have the answer?
I would venture to guess that the healing business model isn't as strong as the treating business
Yeah.
model.
It's
So
it's so it's it definitely, I wish there's something we can do. I'm not really that much into politics or up there at the White House, but
the reality is the world we live in is driven by greed and money,
yeah.
right? From clickbait to everything is selling time and selling and generating more and more and more income, and so when you look at things that generate a one and done sale, there's no real model there. There's no
Yeah.
scalability.
Yeah.
So it's sad, but I mean I believe it, and that's the difference between Eastern medicine and Western medicine, right? Eastern medicine focuses on the problem, and Western medicine focuses on you know treatment of symptoms.
That's what's so great, I guess, about social media now and podcasting is I do feel that it's really helping a lot of people getting the word out of other things that people can do for their health. Like even for me, back in 2020, 2019, I'm listening to Ben Greenfield, I'm listening to Dave Asprey,
Yep.
and they're telling me to do ozone and all these and peptides back then, and it helped and it healed me, from a lot. And instead of, I didn't realize like how unhealthy I was with candida and parasites and mold and all these things, and
Yep.
I would never have realized that unless I listened to these podcasts with Mark Hyman and everything and did my own research and helped heal my own
Yep.
body. So with this light system, this is all around the world, right?
Yep.
Like it's not just, here you're using it. A lot of people are using it.
Yep.
So are these in other clinics, maybe more functional or longevity clinics,
Yep.
and are other people getting benefits?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So we're in, I mean, dozens of countries and hundreds of clinics around the world. Our largest market is the U.S., but that's where a big part of the population is, and big part of people that are more inclined to try something like this. I mean, we have pockets everywhere. I mean, Amsterdam, for example, not Amsterdam, but the Netherlands. It's very popular there too. So there are pockets of popularity, but yeah, I mean, all over the world, people are experiencing the benefit of it, and remember what I said, right? What the light system does is put your body in a better position to heal itself from whatever is going on. It's not just one thing, right? Because if we can give the tools it needs to be able to fight at a more optimum level, then it doesn't matter what it's fighting. It now has the tools to do that. And it's not a standalone thing. I mean, you have to eat right. You have to take care of yourself. And depending on, what it is you're trying to treat. For myself, I talked about my spinal surgery, but I still use it and I don't have, spinal problems anymore. And I use it because I love the way I feel. Right, it really amps me up. It gives me kind of what I like to call my flow. Everything becomes easier. My communication's easier. The way I deal with people is easier. Telling jokes is more on point. Life is just easier, and that's what it does for me. And that comes down to mental clarity, and that's what I love about it. But that's why I use it. Anybody can use it for whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
we even see at the trade shows we go to hangovers, right? People, they come in the chair, they experience it, they sit down with a headache, and they get up and their headache's gone after 10 minutes,
Wow.
right?
Okay, so it needs to be in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I think a lot of clinics are thinking of Vegas because a lot of people need recovery
Yeah.
after the
That's right.
weekend in Vegas.
That's right.
So, what other things what other health issues does this help?
So everything.
Yeah.
And because again, our body needs the tools to be able to fight. And if we understand we're electrical beings and we understand that we need an electric charge to be able to do that, but because it's the electricity that we need on a daily basis, even to just get through the day, right? That also means that we're using that electricity to fight the toxins that are trying to get into our body, whether it's environmental toxins or in our food or in our water. because we're accepting these toxins and being exposed to these toxins, we're using more electricity. And so we're no longer able to replenish those levels as we once were when we didn't have all those handicaps. By we, I mean our ancestors, right? Didn't have those handicaps that we now have. So, again, our body has the ability to heal itself. It just can't do it as efficiently as it once could. And so now, through tools like the light system that increases your cellular voltage, your tank has enough in there to be able to fight the good fight.
Okay. And how exactly, like, how often should someone be using this?
I would say it would depend on what you're using it for. What I can tell you is that we have a researcher who works for me now in my showroom, and he's just pumping out research study, white paper after white paper after white paper on all of our different technologies, all of our different product lines. And what he's finding is that on our systems, after 1 hour, we're seeing an increase of cellular voltage of 80%, which is substantial. So to be able to increase you by 80% is huge. And so, and we find that it depends on the individual. It does taper off, obviously. But we know that you shouldn't do it inside of 24 hours. So 24 hours is great. 48 hours is also good.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you can do it 24 to 48 hours, like
Yeah.
the next day or
Yeah.
2 days after. And
Yeah.
is that your protocol that you typically do?
So I commute back and forth from Toronto to here in South Florida, and so when I'm here in my office, at the end of my workday, I'll try to get 45 minutes in. That's what I do. I have a makeshift product in my home that I've just kind of created around my desk. So I'll have that on too from time to time, but I don't overdo it because it's not necessary. But again, I'm not fighting anything, right? So if I was going through something, I would want to get as much exposure to it as possible, at least in the beginning.
So, and how long have you been using this for?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And has your health improved significantly
I
since
think
using
so.
it?
I think not just my health, but my outlook on
Ment-
life.
Wow. Yeah. And that's something for myself as well. Not with the light system, but the healthier I become, like it's hard to explain to people, but you become more clear, you become internally happy instead of looking for external happiness. You just internally, like, I think it's just everything starts functioning better. Your neurotransmitters work better, just everything. And so it's really hard to explain to people. But, I don't think I was healthy since I was a kid. I was eating processed foods and surrounded by fragrances and so I feel now that I finally have my health, I have like that mental clarity, and it really is like internal happiness, So is this something you're measuring with the cellular voltage? You're measuring this in yourself as well?
Well, not on a regular basis, but to answer your question, this week I was, because I was, I went through the process with the doctor we've got working with us.
Wow.
So I did a session on Monday. He measured me Tuesday. He measured me Wednesday.
Your
So that-
cellular voltage.
yeah.
How do you measure that?
you scrape the cells, they're called buccocells, from the inside of your cheek. So then he takes it and he does what he does to be able to measure the voltage of it. I won't pretend to know, but it's a sterile butter knife. You just stick in your cheek and scrape.
Wow. Okay, I need to see this test. So is this something that anyone can find on the website? Is this something that you guys are just now testing?
No, so this is, so we work with Dr. Glenn Ryan, and he's a Harvard PhD and Stanford PhD. So, this is his thing. He's a quantum physicist, and this is his bag, man. He loves this stuff. He's such an interesting guy. I love chatting with him. But yeah, this is what he does, and this is why I've got him working with us, because it's super easy for me to sit here and talk to you and tell you all this great stuff, but if I can't qualify and quantify it, then it's nonsense, right? So we, as in the light system, believe heavily in research and being able to support our statements through data, and that's what I've been doing for the last call it 4 months is really diving deep into developing a library of studies and research.
Wow. And so is it increasing every day? Is it like, I don't know how many times you've done this,
Yeah.
tested your cellular voltage, but are you seeing it increase daily, or you just, how long does that cellular voltage last?
It depends, and it depends on the individual is what we're learning, which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're going through something, right, you're gonna use your charge quicker than I am, right? So, interestingly enough, when I got tested this week, I was, pretty flat line. I had I had an increase after my session, but 24 hours after my session, I went up to 250%, and that was a day later.
Wow.
So
So you definitely feel more energized.
I do, yeah,
I love energy. I'm
yeah,
all about supporting my mitochondria and
yeah,
energy because I think the more energy you have, the more excitement you have for the day, the more
yeah,
energy you have to do the things you love. Like, I think that's one thing you hear from people struggling with some type of health issue, or when you get older, 70s, 80s, 90s, is you lose energy.
yeah.
And I feel like that is the most draining for people. Like if they have Parkinson's, or Lyme disease, they always just say, I'm so fatigued. I'm so fatigued. And that really hinders people. And as you get older too, it just, you hear that in their 80s, 90s, I'm just so tired. And then you can't do the things you love. So I'm all about supporting energy.
Dude, life is hard and it's exhausting,
Yeah.
right? And just in its nature, things that are hard require energy to get through, right?
And to have
So,
fun. It's
yeah.
like, you can't really have fun if you're fatigued.
No,
Like even if you're out to dinner with friends, if you're tired, you just want to go to sleep, So
that's
it's
right.
like if you have energy, you're excited
Yeah,
for the day. It's
100%.
like I feel like the core to happiness.
Yep.
So tell us about these devices. It's probably, I wish you brought a device to show because it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
And you have different ones. So can you kind of go through the different devices and what it looks like and.
Yeah. And I mean, we were super creative in the names we chose because the cube is a cube and the pyramid is a pyramid and the sphere is a sphere. But yeah, so we have, in-home units. Start with, actually, we just released our Cube Mini, which is our most affordable and portable unit yet. We're super excited about it. We released it on Monday. It goes on sale this coming Monday.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be massive. It's a beautiful product, and it's considerably less than all of our other products. So, but yeah, go on www. I don't even have to say the W's anymore, but I always forget. The Light Systems, that's plural, lightsystems.com. So you can get a visual of all our products, and you can purchase most of them online. But our in-home units are the Cube Mini now,
Okay.
which is great. Sit on your bedside table or on a desktop or on a coffee table, and that's about 8 inches, so 8-inch cube. And then we have our normal cube, which is 12 inches, and it's beautiful as well. And then we have our flagship product, which is the pyramid, which mimics the same geometry as the Great Pyramid in Giza. So all the angles are the same and whatnot. That was important to us, and it is a real showstopper. You have that sitting on your coffee table in your living room. People are like, "Wow, what is that?"
Yeah, these are like art pieces.
yeah.
I really thought it was like Art Basel, like
Yeah.
stunning, is really cool. And then I'm like, oh, it's for healing.
That's right. Medicinal art, right? And then our sphere is a big 18-inch sphere. Then we get into the more commercial units. Our hybrid would be our chair. We do sell the chair to a lot of people's homes, so like
Okay.
in-home use. But they also get sold to chiropractors, physiotherapists, and naturopaths and stuff like homeopaths. Those people have them as well in their offices. And that is our most that's my favorite product. It's the one that I use the most. I'm around the other stuff, the other products, but the chair is the one that I lean on. And that's because whereas the other ones, you still receive the color therapy, you receive the affirmations, and as the room reaches saturation, those photons will kind of collide, here, there, and everywhere. But when you have two opposing monitors, especially in the chair that's only like 3 feet apart, you're all but guaranteed that those photons are going to collide. So I can sit in the chair and I can feel the energy transference in this space that I'm sitting in. That is my favorite product. And then we get into the larger systems.
You had me hold something while in the chair.
Yeah.
What was that?
So those, we call them, they're like an Egyptian grounding rod, right? So they're filled with copper.
Okay.
And then we run them through a quantum concentrator. So they're quantum charged.
Okay.
And then we take, so one of our programs that we run through our system is called Zyto. We've programmed that frequency into those. So by holding them, and they now have that same frequency as a field that's around you, we're magnifying the field.
Interesting. So, how exactly? So I'm in there for 45 minutes. Do you think I'm going to notice a difference as soon as I get out, or do you think over a week or so? Do you think how long will someone notice?
So, I mean, everybody that I talk to, everybody that we put in the chair, the trade shows, immediately they're hit with an overwhelming sense of relaxation. Right? We get these people. I mean, we always have a speaker in our booth just because it's boring without music. And then you've got people talking over the music and people talking over each other. It's super loud. You go to these shows all the time, and people will be out cold in the chair. They're fast asleep.
So it helps with sleep.
So eventually, yeah. So one, they get extremely relaxed while they're sitting in the system. Then they get up, and about 5 minutes later, they get that increase of energy, and they feel like they can take on the day.
You think it's increasing the cellular voltage as soon as
Yeah.
they're done,
No, it's happening.
or while they're in the chair?
Yeah, and we know it's happening because that's when we test, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
in the tests we do, we've done it, a baseline before you get in the system, another test 30 minutes, 30 minutes into exposure, and then 60 minutes right at the end, and then every 24 hours thereafter. So we know where it goes and when it increases. So yeah, you get energized. 5 minutes after you get out, you start to feel the effects of that energy, but then you have a wonderful sleep that night.
And so this is something also, so for sleep, something maybe for athletes as well. Do you think this also helps with the brain?
Yeah.
So you think it might help with healing, maybe concussions or anything with athletes? And
So again, if healing requires the use of energy, and if we can replenish the energy and take your energy level to a more optimum level, then we could put the body in a better position to heal. We were just at, we sponsored the Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party in San Francisco I guess the day before the Super Bowl, and we had the focus was the focus was longevity. Lee is a sports agent. Actually, the movie Jerry Maguire. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So Lee Steinberg is Jerry Maguire.
Oh, okay.
So his focus for a very long time has been on brain health and what these guys go through playing football and after football, what they go through. And so he spent a lot of time trying to, help them and come up with ways that can help them and stuff. And I had the opportunity to speak to a lot of guys there at that event, and I know we can help them. And I spoke to one guy, and I know who he is. He's a legend. I know who he is, and if I said his name, there's a lot of people listening that would know who he is too. Being his probably 65, good-looking man, still in good shape, really struggled to put together his sentences when talking to me, and it was just like, I know I can help you. Like I know I can help you. So yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. Because I know what it has done for my brain, going through the stuff that I've been through and how it has put me in a position to be able to cope and not just deal, but excel to the level I'm doing at now. I know it can help people.
Yeah. That's like, I feel like there's so many modalities for healing that a lot of people just don't know about.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about neurofeedback and I was speaking on this, and a lot of people have never heard of it. And I'm like, wow, it's been around for so long, even the light, like with the light and everything. And a lot of people just don't know or don't think of these things for healing. And we just go to a pill.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many things we can do now. So you can also change the affirmations. Can you change the light of each device as well?
Yeah.
So you
So
can program it to what you want.
yeah, we can access 64 colors, but you have the background color, you have the foreground color, and then every character has a color. So when you factor in all of that, you're rounding out 288,000 color combinations. Is that necessary? Likely not. But yeah, you could turn the whole thing red if you wanted exposure to red light. You could turn
Okay.
the whole thing yellow or blue, but you could also, let's just say you're having some digestive issues. You could put in more yellows and still benefit from the reds and still have the red going.
Mm.
So you could implement, different colors for different things that you're going through on that day.
Oh, wow.
And you can change. So we have four different sets of linguistics that you can choose from, but we can also add in some of your own intentionalities.
Hmm.
So if let's, I don't know, I see perfectly in all dimensions, right? Or whatever it might be that you choose to put in there. You have the opportunity to put in your own set of intentionalities.
Do you think so? If I put on red or something, do you think this has helped like your outer beauty, your skin, your hair, anything? You think it's
It's
helping
red
with
light.
that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you'd want to be just like red light therapy. I mean, if it was, you would want to be awfully close to it, just like for your hair and hair
Yeah, and
growth and strength.
face.
You're almost wearing that red light hat, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of collagen production and whatnot, I think just being in the same proximity as you would be to a red light panel, you absolutely benefit from it.
Would this be similar to something like grounding, like a PMF mat or something? Is that it's something similar?
So, well, PMF, and we've added PMF to our chair.
Mm.
So pulse electromagnetic frequency is also a frequency modality that energizes your cell,
Okay.
right? So yeah, it does similar things, but even within PMF, there's so many different versions of it, right? I know you've experienced the pulse,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love the pulse,
Yeah.
but I'm the guy that likes to push myself to, you know, as far as I can go. And when you're on that pulse, especially, I mean, I'm fortunate that my chiropractor is a friend of mine. And so he just lets me, play with the dial and stuff like that. And I push myself because I feel like if I'm not hurting now, I'm not going to feel better later. So, but anybody that hasn't experienced it, your body is literally jumping with every pulse of frequency. And again, I love it. But then there's other ones like, RPMF is way more subtle, lot lower frequencies, more healing frequencies in terms of not being able to feel those jolts. Trying to think of another brand. A lot of the PMF mats too are a lot lower. Some of them you can feel, some of them you can't. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess you can't really feel the light system. Do
no,
you think it's targeting anything specific or you think it's charging all the cells at once?
yeah, that's what it's doing.
Okay.
All
So
of the
like
cells
cuz
at
I feel
once.
like with PMF it goes to specific targets. Like
So the pulse does.
yeah.
And that's again, right? You're laying on a mat filled with energy, right? And we know that. So what we do is in the light system, we're trying to increase the efficiency in which energy flows through the body. And through your work that aligning your chakras is important for energy flow,
Mm.
right? And if you have an energy blockage, generally where that blockage is, there's some sort of ailment that's happening.
Mm.
So what's the pulse doing? The pulse is pulsing energy through your body. And if there's a blockage,
Neck.
that's where you're going to feel it, right? And that pulse will bang. So I've done it daily for 2 weeks.
The
Eh,
PMF, the
yeah, the
pulse.
pulse one.
Okay.
And I know that when I first sat in it, it was right up in here, and I don't know, 4 sessions later it was gone. And
Well,
I thought it was super cool, right? It had an intelligence about it, but that's not what it was. It was just I had an energy blockage. It was creating an issue, and the energy wasn't able to flow through it, and it was going to bang that blockage out, and that's what it did.
mm. Yeah, so I think it's so difficult for people to understand this system. It's like especially we don't have an image of it, but go to the website because it's hard to explain. And a lot of people I just think are skeptical of these things, you know? So what do you say for someone who might be thinking about the light system, who's skeptical and says, does this thing really, will this, product actually help me?
I get super irritated when people have that mentality, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a
Because
lot of people
no,
because of,
1,000%, and I understand,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
understand it, but it's so frustrating to me because I know that there's so many people that can be helped.
Yeah.
Dare I say saved, right? And you're not going to be helped and you're not going to be saved because I'm skeptical. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Honestly, what do you have to lose?
Well,
We
I
are
think it's a cost thing for a lot of people. And a lot of people, it's even spending a few $100s on lab testing. A lot of people are
sure,
hesitant,
sure,
but they'll go spend a few $100s on dinner.
right. But don't
So,
forget, we have facilities all over the world. Like I know we're in your neighborhood. We're in your
yeah.
neighborhood. Go in and it's not expensive. When you go to the
Yeah.
centers, it's not expensive. You're sitting instead of having your own in your home that you pay for, you're going to use somebody else's and pay a whole lot less. Right? It's very affordable. In fact, Unified Healing sets the pricing so that there is no price gouging by the centers. And not
Oh,
that that would
nice.
happen because the center owners are all very, very, very passionate, loving people that just want to heal humanity.
Mm-hmm.
They're wonderful and very knowledgeable on the technology. So not that that would ever happen, but there is an upper limit of what you can charge in order to make it affordable to all.
Yeah, I think, and then making it accessible as well. So is this in most common cities, all states? Is this somewhere anyone can find? San Francisco,
Yeah.
LA, maybe Midwest or something?
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, they're everywhere.
Wow.
So if you go to thelightsystems.com and find a center, you'll be able to find one in your area for sure.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, all over the U.S., all over Canada, all over Europe, Central America, some in South America. Yeah, we're everywhere.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That's so cool. I didn't know that this was as common as I can find in a lot of like longevity clinics, functional clinics as well.
yeah.
So, what is the future of the light system then? Now that you've taken over, or you the president, what's the future?
The future is getting it in as many people's lives as possible.
Mm.
There's and just because I want to help, right?
Yeah.
And everybody in the company wants to help. We really do have something remarkable here, and everybody deserves to feel good, right? Everybody deserves to have a life without pain. Everybody deserves to have a life without anxiety. You deserve that,
You deserve
right?
health.
Yeah,
Like I feel like we have made it so common and normalized being unhealthy.
yeah.
And it's not normal.
It's not
We should be
normal.
living a life full, like healthy, and it just makes me question. I'm like, should we all just go to a jungle where they don't have these toxins and like maybe we'd be happier? I don't know if we're happy now.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are running around kind of zombied out with reality, and not really in life.
It's so funny that you chose to use those words because when I was in San Francisco, and I don't want to come down on San Francisco, but when I was in San Francisco, my wife and I were in the Uber from the airport to downtown, and we're both kind of looking around. These people are so unhappy. Like all of them, every single person had this glazed over look, and I'm not talking about the drug problems I have in San Francisco. That's
That's
where the
another story.
that's where that zombie word
The
comes
real
in.
zombies.
Yeah,
I
but
grew up in San Francisco.
oh, yeah,
It's just-
yeah. So it's like it was really hard to watch because people were so unhappy there, and I don't know why. It's such a beautiful city,
I
right? When you
know.
strip away the
Yeah.
drug stuff, but yeah, you're right. So everybody deserves to be happy, and we want to bring it to everybody and make it accessible to everybody and have everybody benefit from it. And so we're constantly looking and evaluating new markets and whatnot. How can we get get it out there? How can we increase awareness? How can we let everybody know that it's out there? And so, doing stuff like this and sponsoring various events, and we do a lot of donational work. So people that need it, and we just donated a chair to a not-for-profit for vet care, veteran care, not veterinarian, but vet care, veteran care. So
wow,
it's
nice.
again, it's a chiropractic office that has a bunch of modalities, and they provide free care to veterans. So we've donated a chair to them, and we continue to do stuff like that because it's important to be able to bring it to people that can't afford it.
Yeah. And you guys are going to a few conferences.
Yep.
So you're going to be at Biohackers World next weekend. So if anyone wants in LA,
Yeah.
are you going to they're doing like quite a few conferences this year. And I think in New York and Miami.
Yeah,
Is
well,
this-
we did Miami last year. We'll do Miami again this year, likely. Depends on
Okay.
how, if we
It
have a
goes
great
in
time in
LA,
LA.
yeah.
But I know we will. CryoCon, A4M coming up in West Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
We've got Ultimate Wellness in Miami here in September, and we have one in Tampa coming up too. So, and then I think, and Beyond Biohacking in Austin.
Oh, okay.
We'll be there. So, and that's going to be a great one. We're actually all of them. We've got speaking engagements at a lot of those, so it'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great to speak and actually, like, even for me, you see the device, you're like, okay, this is great. But actually, when you understand it and what it can do, it helps people realize how healing it can be,
And we don't travel light. I mean, we bring everything with us.
Every-
So we always have a large booth, and we have everything there for people to experience and stuff like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was so great. There's such an amazing system, and I loved it when I was in it, and I wish I had access to it every day.
Well, you come visit me anytime.
Yeah, I'm close by
Yeah,
now. So
that's right.
anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.